So it's week 6 in the Barclays Premier League. This is the early Friday night fixture, and it pitted Aston Villa, who are riding high, second in the table, undefeated, in fact 100% a record, 4 wins out of 4, at home to the impressive Leeds, promoted from the Championship. A lot of expectation on this game now, and team news. Well, I'm starting to get a little bit more familiar with Leeds. Costa has caught my eye. Bamford, of course, is scoring goals. And this Click impresses me as well. And, of course, they've got Aileen, club captain, at right back, who's been with them for some time. Alioski was selected for this fixture. I hadn't seen him so far this season. For Villa, well, they've got a potent strike force now. Watkins, Grealish and Barclay look to be quite capable of getting a number of goals for them. But early on it was Leeds in the ascendancy. A great cross from the left from Alioski found Bamford, but his header was just inches wide. 11 minutes, Rodrigo, he's the big signing for Leeds. He looked interested as well, and he had an effort just deflected just wide. Up the other end, 25 minutes, the first sign of Grealish's magic, and he managed to create a goal scoring opportunity, and his shot was cleared off the line by Aileen. But we got to the break goalless, although it has to be said Leeds had the better of things. Into the second half, and early on, Leeds in attack again had 2 shots blocked. But on 51, some great play by Grealish, and he managed to get his shot away, and it forced a good save from Melia in the Leeds goal. 54 minutes though, finally the breakthrough, and it was that man Bamford. He clipped in the ball in after a parry from Martinez, after a shot from Rodrigo. It was a nice finish, and it put Leeds 1 up. 9 minutes later, Bamford was in the box again, just on the edge of the box actually, and he had a dispute with Mings. No penalty given, but it caused a little bit of fisticuffs. 66 minutes though, Bamford this time just outside the box managed to get his left foot to a ball that came to him, and it sizzled into the roof of the net, and all of a sudden Villa were up against it because they were 2 down. And 7 minutes later, a really intricate piece of play by Bamford in the box. He managed to feed the ball from one foot to another, and it was that left foot with hardly any backlift, and it soared into the net, and he got his hat-trick, and they were 3 up. Hernandez could have actually added to the agony on 83, but it was averted. But full time arrived, and a thoroughly deserved win for Leeds. Final score at Villa Park was Aston Villa 0, Leeds United 3. Right, it's week 6, Barclays Premier League. We've had a busy week of European action, and I've thoroughly enjoyed the snippets that I've caught. But it's back to the bread and butter now, the Premier League. And we did have a match last night. I did round that up at the front of this video. Now we're on to Saturday's matches, 4 in all, and then we've got matches tomorrow. But let's try and clear up the 4 that were played on Saturday. And we start with the match at the London Stadium, West Ham at home to Manchester City. I didn't arrive on the net quick enough to catch the team news, only to say that Aguero was in from start, and Foden was on the bench. Sterling up front with Aguero, and De Bruyne, who's been out the last couple of matches, he was on the bench. West Ham still got Noble on the bench with Yaralenko and Haller, Antonio leading the line with the guy, I can't remember his name now, from Hull City, Bowen. Anyway, off we went, and an early chance for Sterling, a half chance really. He put Aguero through on the left, and Aguero's effort was deflected for a corner. The first quarter, to be perfectly honest, wasn't exactly scintillating, and it was virtually all in the West Ham half of the field. City total domination with possession, but then on 12 minutes, that's inside the first quarter, isn't it? Okay, first 10 minutes total domination. On 12 minutes, the first chance for Hammers, they on the sort of counter attack really. They got down to the corner flag. There appeared to be a possible handball by Souček, but he managed to edge the ball back from that area, and then a really great cross that found a half chance for Antonio, and he did an elaborate bicycle kick that whistled past Ederson into the net, and 1-0. Protest from Man City for the earlier handball, but play waved on. After that, to be perfectly honest, it was back to the same, with City in possession, but they certainly were missing David Silva and De Bruyne, and no cutting edge. Cancelo was being very active down the left-hand side, and his cross on 24 minutes found Aguero, but it was a pretty tame effort from the Argentinian, who didn't really seem to be that fit, to be perfectly honest. Easy for Fabianski. So good value for Hammers, 1-0 at the break, irrespective of the possession. Second half, and Foden came on for Aguero, no surprises there, and 51 minutes paid dividends. Foden's extra sort of energy seemed to pass through the team, and then there was a great run down the byline, and the ball was pushed into the centre, and Foden did 180% swivel, and his shot hit the corner of the net. It was a nice piece of play, and thoroughly deserved a City level. A little later, they put on De Bruyne, and he immediately had an opportunity from the free kick, but it was easy for Fabianski. And chances at either end in the last 10 minutes or so. Fornals had an effort which was offside. He beat the offside trap, but he couldn't chip Ederson. Should have done better really. Then Sterling at the other end, in fact, had a couple of chances, and he lost possession at the vital moment really, and Fabianski was good enough. So a late half chance for Mahrez, but again the keeper pushed it round the post, and so that was it. I was very impressed with the overall performance of Declan Rice in the West Ham midfield. He looks a class act, and I'm sure he's going to put in quite a number of appearances for the national team. But it ended level pegging. West Ham, I think, thoroughly deserved this draw. They'd previously been rolled over by City on their own patch. So I don't know about a sense of relief. I thought it was a well-earned point. For Guardiola, well, certainly he's got to get De Bruyne fit, and he also needs to add a little bit of spice in that midfield. Some of the players previously who were really sort of performing magic have gone rather stale. Even Mahrez lacked sharpness. So I think big problems really for City on the horizon. Right, I'm now going to do Liverpool at home to Sheffield United. Liverpool coming back from Europe with a win against Ajax, but still I feel wondering how they're going to cope with the absence of Van Dijk, and Thiago's also out. They were at home anyway to Sheffield United, 1 point so far. They've looked better than that, but they certainly have been found out, and they haven't quite managed to knit in the new players yet. They looked all at sea in the early minutes here. Hardly a minute on the clock, and Mane was put through, and his shot was cleared off the line after he sort of bypassed the keeper. 11 minutes against the run of play, a sort of clumsy challenge in the box on McBurney, and the referee awarded a penalty. Fabinho was the culprit. It looked a bit harsh from where I was sitting, but anyway, VAR agreed with the referee and Berger stepped out, and it was 1-0 for the Blades. 20-minute, McBurney collected a pass, but his shot was well wide. And then Osborne had a great volley on 23, which tested Alisson. So the Blades looking good. But then, as is the case with champions, of course, they managed to get back into the match. 40 minutes, a Mane header from some good work forced a desperate save from Ramsdale, and he couldn't push it clear, and Firmino, following up, latched onto it and tapped it in the net for 1-1. And that was the break. And then a delightful piece of play on 66 minutes with Mo Salah. He collected a ball over the top with absolute precision, and then switched it to his left foot, and it ended up in the net. It was a beautiful goal. Unfortunately, VAR found an offside in there, so it was chalked off. Were they going to live to regret that VAR decision? Well, it didn't take that long before, on 63 minutes, again Mane with a great cross, and he found the new boy, Diego Jota, and his header was a firm one, high and wide of the keeper, that was Liverpool in front by 2-1. McGoldrick should have equalised on 75, but it went just over. And then a few minutes later, Salah was unlucky when he hit a post. But a bit of a struggle for Liverpool, to be honest. Sheffield United were good value here and probably deserved a draw. But this is how it's going for them at the moment. They lost this game by 2-1. Klopp acknowledging in an interview how tough it had been. Wilder, realistic. But it's another defeat for Sheffield United. Final score then, Liverpool 2, Sheffield United 1. I decided to try and get some highlights from my website, but unfortunately a couple of minutes in, the video was shut down for some sort of copyright infringement. The match I'm talking about, of course, is Manchester United at home to Chelsea. On paper, this looked like it could be a very, very good match. Team news: no Martial, still serving the ban. Pogba on the bench, along with Matic. Mata and James were selected. A bit out in the cold at the moment is the other striker for Greenwood. But I think a good selection to McTominay and Fred in midfield. And Mata has certainly deserved a chance. Goalkeeper Mendy back in for Chelsea. Pulisic was alongside the two Germans. Mount sitting it out on the bench with Kovacic, Abraham and Giroud. Not much action early on. First meaningful effort by United was from Fernandes on 30 minutes, but Mendy dealt with it pretty easily. Werner effort went wide, and then followed that up with a Rashford shot that was blocked by the keeper. It pretty pedestrian as we got to the break, scoreless into the second half, and basically it was one incident that looked a penalty, to be honest. A foul by Maguire in the box on Aspilicueta. He had his arm wrapped round his neck, but VAR and the referee decided to avoid it, and so it remained 0-0. Late on, the new signer Cavani came on, and he almost scored with his first touch at the near post, but it was pushed behind. A great shot from Rashford forced a great save from Mendy, but it dribbled to a conclusion, a goalless conclusion. A pretty wretched game by all accounts. I only saw highlights, but I certainly won't be looking for the full match on the internet. So final score, Manchester United 0, Chelsea 0. Next match up was at Craven Cottage, Fulham at home to Crystal Palace. I saw some brief highlights of this. I watched the City game in its entirety. The highlights then from this, it didn't take long for Palace to breach Fulham's defensive line. Riebenald slotted home after some great work by Zaha, who got to the byline and fed it back. Fulham behind 1-0 then. Lookman, who'd looked good the week before, he was involved again, and he had a strike which sort of hit the post on 25 minutes. But Zaha, again looking dangerous, got to the byline, but this time the defence managed to clear it away. Half-time 1-0 to Palace, and then 63 minutes, Zaha, who's my man of the match here, after a great assist via Townsend and then Bashway, he prodded the ball home and collided with the post thereafter, but it was 2-0 and he recovered from the slight problem in his groin. 2 efforts for Lookman after that, but not on target. The first real good strike on goal for Fulham took place on 95 minutes from Kearney, and it was a really great effort, and it hit the back of the net. Consolation though for the Cottagers, Palace running out winners by 2-1.